Good afternoon, YouTube. PPS back. This is afternoon video for you guys. Decided to kind of give myself a little bit of a time to breathe this morning after this crazy week. Capped a little bit, found a couple spots I like, but just needed to kind of decompress for a little bit, a couple hours of just like not thinking about some stuff. Just because the free plays have been just off. I mean, obviously VIP's been okay. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you and say they've been positive all this time. I think we're like 1-3 on positive days since the start of the madness here. But I mean, we all go through these. Kind of just feels weird because I feel like I'm in the right spots in a lot of these places, and then they just happen to collapse. A good example is Auburn against Miami. Miami's 300 in a lot of these numbers, defensive efficiencies, defensive ratings everywhere. And they decided to hold them to 60 points. Like Miami did what I expected them to. I expected them to come out and score. I just did not expect Auburn to just lay that big of an egg. And again, the Northern Colorado one that we had last time as well. Northern Colorado, that game was 25-23 with 9.5 minutes left. And ended up scoring like 13 more points in the last 10 minutes. So, I mean, you look at it, there's different spots and maybe different plays to make, but I'm not going to sit here and make an excuse for it. I 100% stand by my research. It's helped me get multiple years in this industry and making money. It's just right now the numbers are lying to me right now. And in the tournaments, right, you have to take in now a little bit more of, I don't know, like the intangibles of these teams, the experiences of these teams, the pace slows down a little bit. And I'm betting quite a few unders, but when we bet the unders, we have the refs that call the fouls. Like there's a lot of these games that don't get any fouls. There's a lot of games that there's touchy fouls. So March Madness has just been a little bit all over for me. I've been hooked like 8 times, and it's just been extremely frustrating. Obviously, I'm back, and I'm going to be grinding at it and making sure that we come back with some winners. So we only have one today. I'll be going to the College Basketball Invitational and rolling with my Ohio Bobcats, going back to the MAC. They are playing Abilene Christian tonight. I'm playing their team total here. And yes, I am a little nervous about this, but I think that everything that Abilene Christian does well, I think Ohio will be able to beat it on defense. Let's just go through some numbers here. Abilene Christian plays extremely fast, 39th in the country. They are a very heavy press team. Every single time they score, the press will be put on. They're 111 in defensive efficiency, though, so that does give me a little bit better feeling here. Last matchup, they had Troy. Troy is 257 in adjusted offense, and they play extremely slow, 60 or 190 in the country here. And now they're going to play up against Ohio here, the Bobcats from the MAC. Ohio is 100 places higher in adjusted offense, sitting at 160. They're about half a possession faster per. But when we did watch their first game, Abilene Christian here, it did play extremely fast. A team like Troy was able to score 70 points on these guys. And that was after a 27-point first half. It took them a little while to kind of get that press down. But once they did, we started to see some stuff happen here that kind of had Troy coming back in this game. We look at Abilene Christian. They forced 20 turnovers here, had a lot of fouls, 17 fouls. I mean, there's a lot of things here that they did well against Troy. And Troy was still able to score 70 points. They didn't shoot particularly well anywhere. 45% from the field, 34% from three. Obviously shot the free throws extremely well. They didn't even offensive rebound, which is usually a thing that Abilene Christian does struggle with. And Troy was able to stick around, a team that really shouldn't be sticking around with an Abilene Christian side here. But let's look at Ohio. They score 74 points per game, middle of the pack in pretty much everything. 230 or 43% from the field, 34% from three. Abilene Christian is middle of the pack in those. They allow 66 points per game on the Abilene Christian side. But one thing that I did really look at was what is Ohio going to be able to do against this press? And you have Marcus Sears here, their best player, 17 points per game. And looking at Ohio's guards numbers here and just looking at their turnovers, because that's the biggest thing against Abilene Christian, right? We saw Troy score 70 points, but they had 21 turnovers. You look here, turnovers per game. Ohio ranks pretty high in this number here, 10.4. That's it. That's a very, very low number. Obviously, you look at the defensive side for Abilene Christian, they forced 21 turnovers. Really, do you depend? We're going to depend on some pretty heavy guard play here from Ohio, and they're averaging, like I said, if they give me even double their or close to half that, maybe 15 turnovers, that's still 6 under what Abilene Christian usually gets. And if you watch these Abilene Christian games, if you beat their press, you score. If you beat it, you get it, right? Because they're already all over your guards. And if I'm looking at this team, right, we have Sears, Vanderplas, Jason Carter, right? Those are the top 3 scorers. 2 of them are forwards, but Sears is that good, man. He's a very good player here in the MAC. And also, what is Abilene Christian going to do in the half-court set when they have to play up against Vanderplas and Carter here? They only play one guy over 6'6", more than 20 minutes. All of their guys only play like 22 minutes because of the pace. But, I mean, as bigs, don't really have to worry about it as much. I'd be a little bit more worried about Sears' numbers. But all he has to do is break the press today. I think he'll have a high assist number. Ohio's actually very, very good assist-to-turnover ratio. Sitting at 1.2. I think we're going to see a lot here. You also look at Abilene Christian. They have 11 steals per game. I don't think that's going to happen here against Ohio. They face some pretty good defenses in the MAC here when you go up against like your Kent States, right? Obviously, they didn't win those games, but we're going to have a pace here that's going to be pretty quick. We're also in a very good buy low spot here because the unders have hit in 5 straight Ohio games, but they have not faced a team that's going to run like this, right? We look at here. NIU not going to run really. Bowling Green, they missed the over because it was a 160 total. So like they're still scoring in those. Abilene Christian has allowed 70 points in 1, 2, 3 of their last 5 games. They're even allowing them to. They're allowed 76 to Seattle. Right, I would take Ohio's offense over Seattle any day of the week. I just really don't know how they're going to stop them in a half-court set either. Like I said, their size is not their strong suit, right? They're going to be running a 4-guard lineup for most of the time here. Vanderplas being a 6'8" guy. He's from Wisconsin. I've watched him play. He played in my conference. Obviously a little bit younger than I am, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough for me to see Ohio getting extremely frustrated with this press. Obviously, it's very good. It's how they win. But looking at this offense, right, you see Sears on average is 3.2 turnovers per game, but that's because he's in there for 36 minutes. Even say he gives up 5 turnovers today. I still don't think that that's going to be a killing spot here where the possessions are going to be pretty fast, right? Abilene Christian had 64 shot attempts in that last game against Troy with 14 total turnovers. I just see this game being pretty fast. And I just think that Mark Sears is going to be the answer here. Mark Sears is one of those guys that's going to be he's going to have a big game, and I think he will. I think he's going to be that type of player. Like I said, you look at his numbers this year: 19 points, 4 assists, 2 steals, 6 boards. I think that he's decent size, 6'1". I think that's going to really help him as well, especially if you look at here, just looking at the Abilene Christian team, is they don't really have that one dude on this team, right? Because we'll look at it. They have 8 guys who play 20 minutes per game. I'm rounding up on one of them with 19 here. But, I mean, they can't shoot the 3 ball. I think they're going to obviously try to go to the paint as much as possible. But they have a 6'6" guy and a 6'5" guy are the only 2 dudes, only 2 forwards here, and Simmons and Steele that play in those 20 minutes. All the rest of the guys are guards. So I think Vanderplas is going to be a very tough matchup for him, a 6'8" guy who can shoot. He's been a really good player at Ohio for his tenure there. So really like the Ohio Bobcats. I played up to 72.5. I sent it out at 71.5 this morning. And I think that's good to 72.5. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. I know we're going to get through this. I promise. You guys have seen me on my heaters. You've seen me on a couple of these shit streaks, and I owe you a couple. So let's get a couple winners here, and let's get this one and get us back on track for this March Madness. I'll be putting out videos again a little bit early here for the games on Thursday. So make sure you tune in, and let's cash a couple more tickets. I owe you guys that, and let's get some money. All right. Have a good one, guys, and let's catch the Bobcats.